Hello, 7 receiving students and teachers. Thank you. Take your seats. Receiving students and teachers, I hope you are ready for today's lesson. So as the model class, sitting up straight and listening, everyone, let's quickly go back to what we have learned in our last lesson. In our last lesson, we carried out an experiment to change the state of ice to liquid to gas. Now, I have 2 questions for you to answer. Receiving students, please tell your teacher or give your teacher the answer. I'll give the model class 1 minute to read through those 2 questions. If you have the answer, please raise your hand up. Okay, number 1 question reads, what is needed to change the state of ice into liquid? Okay, the boy in Donald's group, thank you.
Flame or heat?
Hands up if you were thinking about heat or fire or flame. Very good. Receiving students, I hope you have the same answer. That's the correct answer. When we want to change the state of ice to liquid, the change that is used to describe that process is called melting. To melt the ice, you need heat. And like in our situation, we use the spirit burner to change the state of ice. All right, and you had to record the time given every 1 minute, and you are to construct a graph. Receiving teacher, I hope you have your students' graphs there where you can develop questions out of the graph in your non-TV lessons. Number 2 question, when water change into gas, what is this change called? I'll give you a hint. It starts with letter E. Letter E. Agnes?
Evaporation.
Class, you agree? Yes. Okay. This is when water now begins to boil and you see steam rising, that gas rising, that change is called evaporation. So receiving students, good on you if you have the same answer as the model class. Now, receiving teachers, we are on the same strand, substrand, and outcome. Outcome, however, is a new one, which is 7.3.2. Compare the properties of the materials before and after physical and chemical changes and identify patterns in the types of changes that take place in the materials used. So we have moved away from the last outcome and we are now on a new outcome. Okay, class, this is our topic for today. Let's all read together.
Let's find physical changes in our environment.
All right, when we talk about physical, what do we mean? What do we mean by saying physical changes? Beckley?
Whatever matter occurs from a substance.
Thank you. I guess you had your definition taken from the back of your workbook. Maybe somebody else give us or tell us what do we mean by physical change. Now, if you trim your hair, do you think you're changing yourself?
Yes.
You are cutting your hair or trimming your hair. Thank you. This is just an example, all right? Let's hear from Emmanuel.
Changes that appear around us.
Good, changes that appear around us generally. Ruti?
Physical change means a change in the appearance of the surroundings.
All right, good. Now, class watching, I have a paper here. Receiving students, I hope you have given good answers to your teacher about physical change. So watch what I will demonstrate in front of you, and you tell me, is this a physical change or something else? Watching? Okay. Did I change the appearance of the paper? Yes. Okay. What makes you say that it's a physical change? Hands up, please. Receiving students, tell your teacher, what will make you prove that this is physical change? I tore the paper. First, the paper was a full one, a hole in a hole, and now I've torn it into two. Win?
Because first the paper was together, then you tore it into two.
All right. So you say that it's a physical change because we now have two separate papers. Okay, that's what it thinks. Right, another example. What's this? Biscuit. Okay. Let me open this. Okay, I bring one out. Okay, it's been broken. Is this a physical change? Yes. All right, what if I ask Beckley to come up and eat some of this? Okay, Beckley, just one bite only. Hold it. Okay. Watch him just have a little bite of the biscuit. Okay, Beckley. All right. Beckley is shy, all right. Class, give him one big clap. Thank you, Beckley. Sit down. Okay, he's now taste. Beckley will tell us what is the taste like. Beckley, is the taste sweet or sour, or you have to describe the taste to everyone?
Sweet.
All right, sweet. Good. Now, I have another one to show to you. Okay, what do you use this for? Making. Okay, here it's a 3-in-1 complete coffee mix. Right, so you make your coffee. Now, imagine that Cullen takes this home and he makes his cup of coffee. Okay, is that a physical change? Right. Now, when we talk about physical change, like what I showed you at the beginning, the paper, okay, if I use a match and put this paper on fire, or I burn this paper, is that a physical change? Okay, students, you will watch me burn this sheet of paper and you will tell me whether this is physical change or another change. Let's have a look at this paper being burnt. Okay, now we will compare the original substance from the substance that have been burnt. You will now tell me whether this is a physical change or not. All right, now you can see the paper is now in ash. What can you say? Is that a physical change? Yes. Okay, you have to think very carefully. You look at its original, how it looks originally, and now how it looks on the floor, if you can see its ash on the floor. Okay, I'll put them together. Do they look the same? No. Is that a physical change? Yes. Okay. Hands up if you say no. I'm comparing two papers now, the one that's been burnt already and the one that hasn't been burnt. Okay, Momoru, give us your explanation. Comparing the burnt paper and the one that's not burnt. Sorry, Nola?
Because they look different.
So you say is it physical change or not physical change? They look different now.
Physical change.
Physical change. All right, now look at the paper again. Squeezed. Physical change? You still have the same paper, right? The paper is still the same, but what has changed? There's one word to describe the... Can we say shape? Can we say size? Okay, you think about it. All right. So, again, you have a paper. Physical change, you have a paper like this. You squeeze it up. It's still a paper. Okay, but only the size and the shape will change. You think of a can, a Coke can. If you smash it, is that a physical change? Yes. You will still get its original material that is made of, except that the size and the shape will change. Whereas, coming back to the paper that has been bent, do you think it's a physical change? Bend in a paper. Okay, bend in a paper is not physical change because the paper now is not a paper anymore. It has changed into ash. So that is not physical change. That we will describe that change as chemical change. Okay. So class, do you understand what is physical change? You can change it, but the original material is still the same. Now we are going to go outside, receiving students and the model class. I will give you 10 minutes to do an observation outside. But before that, I'd like you to copy these questions into your exercise book. For the model class, you can replace this question for question 1 on your workbook. List 2 evidences of physical change, things that have gone into changing physically. All right, are we done with question number 1? All right, class, you're going to be working in threes or in pairs, and when you return to the classroom, you will discuss as a group. All right, question number 2. You are going to go outside, and this is what you will be doing outside. You will make a record of 4 examples of physical change in the environment. It can be living or non-living things that you will observe. All right, while you are writing, class, I expect you to behave yourself outside and also take care when you are making your observations. Do not taste, touch, or break anything outside. Make less noise and be careful. All right, you should only have your workbooks with you or your exercise books. I will allow you to work less than 10 minutes because we have to come into the classroom to complete the rest of the lesson. That is the summary and the keyword for the lesson. Okay, are we all ready? Choose the person that you will be working with. Listen, the areas that you will be going to around the studio and the car park, not the word strip car park, the car park that is where our studio up to the mess. And not beyond the clinic, only within the fence of this building. Right. So receiving students, I hope you will do the same as the model class. And you have your questions already written, which will help you to do your observations. All right, what are we looking for, class, when we go outside? Evidences of physical change. You just list those things down. You may now stand up and move quietly.
Smashing again is a physical change.
Okay, this a rock. This is a big one, and it was explored by the quarry company after the animal. And when they explode what rock, it turned in, it came into pieces, and now they use this to mix cement and make roads. Okay, this one is a younger leaf. Okay, this is a new shoot of the tree, and when it go bigger, it came into this, and then when it's growing, matured, it becomes like this. And when it's mature, it turn into dark green.
First, this place was a bush. Now it became a garden. So it's a physical environment change.
Clean this up. You can complete it inside. All right, let's see how many of us have more than 4 or 5 list of changes that have occurred or happened physically. All right, sitting up straight, model class. Receiving students, we will now go through the list of things that have gone through physical change, and we will hear from the model class what they have collected outside or what they have seen outside during their excursion. Okay, who's ready to tell us one? Donald's group, thank you. Describe to us what you have found out outside.
Okay, we went outside and we are looking at a lawn. So our first question was list 2 evidence of physical change, things that have gone into changing physically. Our first answer is machine a can, it's a physical change. Second, squashed maca, it's a physical change, and pulling grass is a physical change. And second question is make a record of our examples of physical change in the environment. Our first answer was new building has been built is a physical change in our environment. Growing flower and trees is a physical change in our environment. And the last one, grassland to a garden is a physical change in our environment.
All right, thank you, very good. I hope some of you have the same answers as Donald and his friends. Anyone's got another interesting observation to do with physical change? Model class? All right, you have gone out. You also saw students in the garden working. When you see them picking a leaf or pulling the weed out of the garden, is that a physical change? All right, you have now observed something being pulled out of the ground, which is the weed, and that is a change. The weed is still the same. Digging as well, and in what strip we have a construction working there, and we have carpenters sawing the timber. When you cut the timber, that is a physical change. You only cut it, the shape changes, but its original material is the same. Any more? Michaeline, your group? All right, some questions to help you understand what physical change is. This is a discussion question for us to answer. What makes you prove that physical change has happened to the substances you have listed? What makes you tell that that's a physical change? Like the can, for example, the can. When you smash the can, it looked differently. So what makes you say that it's a physical change? Can we say its shape? Yes or no? Okay, good. We say its shape and its size changes, but the can is still the can. All right? That's a physical change. Some of you talked about the leaf, picking a leaf, or picking a fruit. That's a physical change. Lisa, one last one from you. What makes you prove that what you have listed are all physical changes?
By looking at the appearance of the substance that we've listed.
Very good. Okay, so how that substance look like can also prove to you that it has gone through physical change. You can look at its appearance. All right, good. There are some other things that you can think of. However, in your next lesson, you will go more into detail of physical and chemical changes. Now let's look at our summary. But before that, in your own time, try to compare your results with your friends, and we'll do that on Friday for the model class. This question on your workbook, we will look at that when we have our non-TV class. Let's look at our summary for today. This is only basic to do with physical change. What we see or what occurs obviously, that is the shape and the size change, but the original substance is the same. Okay, this is a flow chart that you can copy. When we talk about substance, we refer to things like pencils, books, anything that's around us. All right, guess what would be our key phrase for today's lesson? Very good. Our key phrase for today is physical change. Our next lesson . With that, thank you class for participating.